All I want for the holidays this year is some NBA action. This week, new customers can score 150 instantly in bonus bets just for betting $5. An instant dub just for you.
The Lakers have a tough stretch coming up. Boston on Christmas, couple road games against the Timberwolves. So I'm definitely keeping my eye on these lines to see how DraftKings thinks LeBron and them boys are going to stack up.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code Jenkins, Jenkins. New customers can get 150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on basketball. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code Jenkins. The crown is yours. Welcome to Jenkins and Jonez on the Volume Podcast Network. It's Saturday, December 23rd. The holidays are looming. I love the word looming.
Okay.
Very ominous tone.
Right.
Yeah.
But okay.
I mean, it's a little ominous in my household because the Long Beach School District does not get out until the 22nd. So it's like on December 23rd, it's like I hope you figured out all your Christmas presents during the school year because you have a day basically. So we're a little behind in the Gardabasio household. Well, the kids are getting a lot of like printed out like this will arrive. You know what I mean? Like Vinny, you're gonna get an Ohtani jersey when they catch up to the printing in March or whatever the fuck. But anyway.
Does Maya believe in Santa still, or is it over with?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so. That's the funniest Donald Trump line ever. You've seen that clip? He was doing calls on Christmas Eve, and he was talking to a 7-year-old boy, and he asked him, and I quote, "Do you still believe in Santa Claus? Because at 7, it's marginal, right?"
That motherfucker, man.
that for me was like obviously didn't change my opinion of him as a person, but that was when I looked at Shar and I was like, this dude's funny, bro. Like,
I'm sorry.
I was like, I'm
Sorry.
really sorry, but
Gotta say
that's one of the funniest things a person's ever said. There's nothing I can do about it. This is a special Jenkins and Jonez holiday mailbag. We will not be dropping an episode on Christmas Day, so sorry for anyone who wanted that, but we will be back on Thursday.
Will actually die for this podcast.
Yeah.
Shit. You won't even create a Christmas fucking episode.
Anyway, we've got some great questions, and we're gonna dive right into them. Thank you so much to everyone who submitted. And actually, I wanted to share some good news first. First of all, shout out to Jenkins and Jonez fan, our boy Smokey. Is officially engaged. It worked out.
Congrats to you, my boy.
Out of here, man.
Love that.
We gave him some pointers. I don't think that had a whole lot to do with it, but we did give him some pointers on our last mailbag, so I'm glad to hear. We're 1 for 1 with Jenkins and Jonez advice for men about to propose.
Didn't he say he already knew what time it was?
Yeah,
He's just trying to figure out. Yeah, he knew. But it's still beautiful.
I can't imagine
Still a
the
beautiful thing for sure.
stress of proposing if you didn't know. Like Shar and I were kind of like what Tyler talked about with Summer. Like I would never have asked her to marry me without having like discussed it ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that sounds like the most stressful shit ever, bro.
Do people do that? Like not discussing it at all? I guess the people that have been turned down, like on television, we've seen it. People that haven't discussed it, but that just seems crazy. Like you have not discussed marriage at all, and then asking a big old question like that.
You have 10 seconds to decide
Right.
what
Your
the rest of
future.
your life is.
You haven't stepped your toe in the water to see how I feel about the shit. You gonna do this on television? Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. I also wanted to give a shout out to Coach Singh. My guy is the defensive coordinator at Long Beach Poly. He and his wife just had a beautiful baby girl, Gianna Allison Marie Singh. She's a beautiful baby. He's a dedicated listener. I know that baby is going to be listening to a lot of Jenkins and Jonez until.
Are we not clapping?
Oh yeah, go ahead. Woo! Welcome, baby.
Congrats, my boy.
Love
Yes, but once she starts saying words back to you, you have to stop listening to Jenkins and Jonez in the car with her. That's my parenting advice right there. All right, let's jump into the mailbag. Thanks again so much to everybody who submitted questions. The first one, kind of a personal question for Tyler from Kenny, but he basically just wants to know, Tyler, what are some good food spots in Richmond? He's down there a lot. It's an elite food city, but he's trying to find some different spots outside of his favorites.
Oh hell yeah, this right up my alley. Let's talk some fat boy shit. One of the discussions we've always had before, right, is how Virginia is a very black state. Richmond's a very black city, and we are very much, we got the Chesapeake Bay there, the Atlantic Ocean there. We're very much into seafood as well. So, the restaurant I always mention that is just the perfect combination of those worlds is Croaker Spot. I've mentioned that to y'all before. It's a seafood, soul food themed spot. Like I mentioned, the fish boat is one of my favorite dishes they serve in the city, where you can get fried catfish, fried flounder, whatever, and they coat it with sauteed peppers and onions, and then they put their house sauce over it. It's fucking delicious. So Croaker Spot is for sure the one that I mentioned. If you want to get if you want to get a spoonful of what Richmond tastes like that's the spot. Jamaica House is my favorite Jamaican spot. That's on Broad Street. One of my favorite things to do there, because they've got sidewalk dining. So when the weather's nice, me and wife, you just go out there just on a random ass Wednesday night and just post up out there and eat outside and shit. And it's fucking delicious. Ginger Thai in Carytown. That's probably my favorite Thai food spot. Big Thai food fan. I don't know how big a spring rolls play in your life, but it's foundational on this side. Bellows is a pretty cool spot too. If you're a younger dude who's kind of in the mix, it's a Caribbean food lounge that turns into a night spot. Later on the night. So, you get you a nice little plate of oxtail, hear some Afro beats and shit, that make me water type shit, you know what I'm saying? Eating some good ass oxtail and shit. It's a vibe, as the kids say. Buzzing Nags.
Have you ever pulled up at night? Have you pulled up there at night?
I have gone there for the early evening, and then once it starts getting more clubby than loungy is when I dip, right? Those years are behind me. But yeah, sometimes on those summer days when you just want to get out, I'll for sure hit it on the late night, right when the DJ's coming in and all that shit. But like I said, I get out once it gets too clubby. Buzz and Ned's and ZZQ is probably the best barbecue spots in the city. We've got this spot called the Bodega that I love. That's a Latin breakfast spot. So you go there and you get Cuban and Puerto Rican themed omelets and shit. It's fucking delicious.
Tyler, how often do y'all go out? In a given week, how many nights are you out versus cooking?
I want to say it's a weekly thing, and the thing is with me in summer is once it gets cold, we're fuck going out. You know what I'm saying? We legit hibernate in the winter and shit. But spring and summer, we out there, bro. Like exploring restaurants in the city is one of my favorite things to do for sure.
Okay.
Are y'all Uber Eating?
We do that every now and then,
Okay, so y'all basically cooking every night then for the most part.
Yeah, basically cooking, or we might go pick up some shit, but yeah, like I said, spring and summer, we really be out in those streets.
I love that. Kenny also had a question, and I don't want to get too deep into this because I feel like we should do this as a real topic on a regular pod. But it was announced that the Wizards are moving to your state. The governor of your state is intent on giving them some tax dollars to help them fund the city, essentially, that they're building. And he's a Washington, D.C. resident, but wanted your opinion on you guys now having to bear the tax burden of Jordan Poole.
Having to bear the brunt.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, I'm fine with it because I think the Wizards provide a much needed service to this world, which is laughter, right? So I am not mad at it. They ain't never gonna be shit, yes, but they are kind of the Washington Generals of this shit, where you're going to watch some comedy, right? You're not really giving a fuck about seeing good basketball. So I ain't mad at it, man.
God damn it. All right. Question from, and by the way, as always, thank you so much. Everyone said such nice things at the top. Many of them acknowledge that I'm not going to read those compliments, and you are correct. I am not going to read the compliments. But thank you for all the nice words. We appreciate y'all for real, obviously. Thomas, at Thomas Flow7 on Twitter, has two questions. If this was the late 90s, early 2000s, who do you think would have been the rapper to wear a Jokic jersey and give him that diplomatic immunity? I love that question.
Bro, we were wearing everything during the throwback craze. We were shameless. There were black men wearing Danny Ainge Celtics throwbacks, bro. We were not discriminating at all during the throwback phase. I had a fucking Marcus Camby Denver Nuggets, you know what I'm saying, swingman jersey and shit, a fucking, defensive specialist rebounding guru dude. We didn't give a fuck, bro. Anybody could have, pulled that shit off back then during the throwback
craze. As long as there was
a
fire hat to match, you feel me? We wearing a jersey for sure, yeah. So I don't know who would wear it. I think we all would have wore that motherfucker. You know what I mean? If they had, he said Joker, right?
Yeah.
If they had a throwback Joker version of it, you feel
with
me?
The rainbow skyline.
Oh my God,
that jersey, yeah,
everybody
would have done
wearing
numbers.
That motherfucker.
Yeah.
Low key, I would think about getting that motherfucker today. That jersey so damn hard. You feel what I'm saying?
His second question is this is like when you're picking out the presents under the tree for the kids, and then you're like, ooh, and there's one for me. He said, I've referenced writing for the Golden Times magazine in the past, but he wanted to know what my white whale as a writer is as a dream topic for an article or book. I actually wrote that book, was a history of Long Beach Poly High School that sold very well in Long Beach. Thank you very much. But the only public high school in California, maybe in America, that had race riots in the 70s when the Watts riots were happening, that still has white people. That is not, I think the term is like a monoracial school at this point. It's still a diverse school. There's still white people there. There's still black people there, Hispanic people. So like learning about the history of how black and white parent advocates and activists like came together in the 70s after these race riots to like keep the fabric of a community and a school together was, even though it's a small subject, is one high school in one city in one state or whatever, it was really like illuminating for me about what it actually takes to make the world better for everyone. And it was also very disheartening because it's like completely impossible for me to imagine any of the things that those people did being carried out on any level of government today. But like at the time, things were tense enough in Long Beach that like they were meeting in Bixby Knolls, which is like a really rich area, like white area of Long Beach. And these parent meetings, they'd have one of the black dads like stood guard with a gun at the door. Cause he was like, if we have some people who are trying to run black people out of Long Beach coming up, my wife isn't here at this meeting and they're not going to get to her without seeing me first. You know what I mean? So like, that's how much these people cared about, we have to save our high school. And I think it was like, I don't know. It's a beautiful story. So I'm fortunate enough to have kind of written that, which is why I have stopped writing books, because it is fucking exhausting. All right.
Wait, I want speaking to that. Was it because like everybody was so invested in the community in ways that people are not invested in the country as a whole?
Yeah.
Is that why it could be done on a national level?
I don't think like, I'm obviously not the person to answer like that on a national level, but yes, like I think I'm
based on why you think it would be able to be done.
I think I think that what is unique about that high school and about Long Beach is that whereas like in Compton, for example, Compton was an all white high school when the Watts riots happened and there were race riots at Compton High School. Like that's like people don't understand that. Like Pete Rozelle went to Compton High School. You know what I mean? Like the NFL commissioner. Like they, you know, and so but when they had race riots, you know, that this was when white flight was happening in Southern
so they'd be in the suburbs for sure.
So they
that
they got the fuck out of there, right?
Yeah,
so what was unique in Long Beach was there were race riots, and the black parents and the white parents got together and said, "We don't want to do it. The white people don't want to go to Lakewood, like they don't want to run out of here." And the black people, what was fascinating to me reading the minutes notes from these meetings was the black parents saying, "I don't even really want my kids going to school with white kids, but I understand that if these white people pull out of this school, my kid's not going to have a good school to go to."
Right.
We need to figure out a way
change and all types of shit. Yeah.
And they were correct. Like if you look at what Poly still is, that's an inner city high school that produces Ivy League and MIT acceptances and all this shit every year. Like it's unique because of the stuff that they did, but it's very counter to the, you know, what I think of as like social media political philosophy of like everything is a purity test. Everything is like, you know, incremental progress is always sort of shit on as like a compromise or something. And it's like, these are black parents who are literally saying like, I don't think that, you know, white people are great or want my kids to be around them, but I recognize them as a necessary source of funding to keep my kids next to, like they're a river. Like, you know what I mean? Like if I'm going to build my city, I want to build it next to a river so that we have those natural resources. Like that was basically the approach. And they found enough compromises that like a lot of the programs they came up with, magnet programs, there's a cross-racial cultural like human relations camp they've all gone to at Poly. You know, all these programs are still around. They don't have a prom king and queen at Poly because it turned into like a race riot flashpoint of like all the white kids voting for a white girl and all the black kids voting for a black girl. Yeah. So they have we have international ambassadors there where it's basically one boy and girl who are white, one who are black, one who are Hispanic, and they're sort of elected by their group or whatever at the school. So it's interesting, longer than probably needs to be on the mailbag. But the book is out there if you want to get it. It's on Amazon.
Integrated segregation is how I was.
Shit, it's still high schools in the South that have black proms and white proms, bro. Like,
Yeah.
Right. And that's like, and you go to the poly prom and it's like, this is, I mean, obviously it's not what conservatives dream, but to me, that's what America is supposed to look like. It's every possible combination of kid, and they're all friends. They've all known each other for 4 years. You go to college and you find out how segregated it is at college. It was a real slap in the face for me because it just wasn't wasn't my experience in high school. You know what I mean? But I didn't realize how unusual that was. Okay. Sterling Giles asks, what artist do you embody most from your hometown? And I'm very curious for your guys' answer to that question. John?
You want me to go first?
Yes.
I think the artist that I fuck with the most or that I feel most connected to is probably, I say Smino. You know what I'm saying? I think Smino probably is more of my vibe than anybody else. I mean, I don't
agree with that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's more because it's generational too. Like, you know, Nelly's older. Like, and Nelly, you know, that's obviously not all the way my thing, but like, you know, I do respect who he is and what he's done for the city. But I mean, the person who I think most embodied or most, you know, connect with is probably Smino, man.
Yeah.
That's a good pick. Smino, cool as hell.
Cool.
I really hate comparing myself to this dude because he's a god in my eyes. And that would be D'Angelo. I feel like, you know, D'Angelo is, I think you could say he's perhaps the greatest male neo soul artist ever. Right. Like, you know, I don't know if that's hometown bias, but I'm just extremely high on D'Angelo. But I will say what I relate to D'Angelo, you know, a lot on is he's someone who never wanted the spotlight. That dude despises fame. Like, he was a recluse who went, you know, fucking 13 years between Voodoo and Black Messiah, right? Like, he's someone who hated the spotlight, who just wanted to do his thing, just make music. He didn't give a shit about the glitz and the glamour that came with it. So I for sure related to
that's you as a motherfucker.
Also, the way you understand music, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not, you know, like, I know he's a, you know, genius level, but like,
yeah.
For you, like, as a normal human being that's not in the industry or doesn't play instruments, you have a great understanding for music and the industry. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
so
I appreciate that.
I think that makes sense too.
Okay, we got a great email from Daquan Shanks, who it just basically has a little paragraph on what it's like being a Pistons fan. And I want to read this because I do think this is part of why sports still matter on an emotional level to me, and I think to so many people is, you know, we remember like post-Katrina, the Super Bowl that the Saints won. I think it's become kind of a cliche. I certainly hate it after school shootings when it's like, we have to play a high school football game and get a sense of normalcy. Like, some of that shit's bullshit, but it is genuinely true that whether your teams are being successful or not, it affects the mood of like a whole city. And like, this is like a very emotional testimony from Daquan, but he says, "What up, Doe? I was listening to this show yesterday and y'all wanted to know how a regular ass fan feels about the Pistons. Let me tell you, they are trash as hell. They're wearing city jerseys inspired by the bad boy Pistons, the team of my youth. I so want them to de-age Lambeer and Mahorn to rip those colors off of them because they don't deserve to wear them. They have -20 in the heart department. It would be one thing if they weren't good, but they aren't even trying now. The lineups are ass. Why would anyone start Killian Hayes over Jaden Ivey? I feel like Monty Williams is just collecting checks and the owner gives less than a fuck. At this point, I give up on the game by the second quarter. Troy Weaver has to come up with a semblance of a plan or he needs to be unemployed. And I hate seeing black men on the unemployed line. The happiest moment of this season was when I got free tickets from work to take my dad to a game. The experience was great, but the team's performance was super trash. The only thing that we have left is hope. A lot of us are Lions fans, so we know about long suffering. We'll just wait until Cade leaves and becomes a superstar elsewhere while we stay in the lottery. God damn, bro.
That's crazy. Yeah. I mean, hey, we are witnessing some historic shit going on right now with this Pistons losing streak. And I feel like we have to, you know, speak on the magnitude of that in real time so the record reflects it. But, you know, the Pistons weren't always like this. You know, of course, you know, he mentioned the Bad Boys Pistons. Like, you know, they were a fucking sprained ankle away from, you know, pulling off a three-peat. They won 2 out of 3. They had a hell of a run. The fucking, the Bad Boys, too, as they called them, you know, the Chauncey squad, the Rip Hamilton squad. Ben Wallace and all them, they were a problem. They are a team that beat the Lakers. Like, if they're a team that was a game 7 away from going back to back against the Shaq and Kobe Lakers and the Tim Duncan Spurs, right? Like, if they pull that game 7 off, we are talking about them, on the pantheon of like all time great teams, So, I mean, yeah, y'all are going through some bullshit right now, but y'all do have some glory years to look back on. Might have been 20, 30 years ago, but
I think the weird thing about them is like, he said there's a lack of effort. And the thing that we always saw with the good Pistons teams was how hard they played.
Right.
And I was listening to like Mark
and that's
Jackson.
the identity of their city. Like that's part. I think that's part of it. Yeah, like that was the identity. Right.
Yeah. And I was listening to Mark Jackson. He was talking about like how he kind of worked with Oakland, the Golden State when they were I think 17 years without going to the playoffs and shit. And he said the thing that they focused on was being the hardest working team out there. That's what they can control. You feel me? And then he said, like, and then it got to the point where they had better players. They drafted and were like, yo, we'll work on each matchup as far as accountability. And my matchup is the other coach. You feel me? Like, making sure that he had to be, he was held accountable for how he coached the squad as well. And it was just like the steps that were taken. But I mean, him talking about how he would have like, yo, we're going to make sure we're the hardest working team. That's all we can do now because we just don't have the guys. We're very young. We don't have the experience.
Yeah.
And it had to be hard. It has to be rough seeing, especially being in Detroit, you know what I mean? Where like I said, the teams that they have won have been so hardworking where they don't even care. They're not even putting an effort in to try to win. And that's the only way that they can potentially win because they don't have the guys right now,
Right.
So.
Well, and I'm interested in that emotional side of sports. I've watched at this point, I actually won't say the number of Pistons games I've watched, but it's shocking to me that they have it. I agree with his assessment. It looks like they've surrendered. And I don't know. I mean, that is such a unique thing in pro sports, bro. I don't know the last time I can think of like, I don't know. He's right. By the second quarter, it's just like Monty's sitting down.
Right.
Players. I don't know, bro. It's crazy.
And he talked about bringing his dad there too. And he's probably a Pistons fan because of his dad. Nobody's a Pistons fan because they decided. There's nobody in LA or like fucking St. Louis and like, those fucking Detroit Pistons, man. You know what I mean? Like,
they just love the Detroit basketball thing so much.
Right? Yeah. It's the city or it's passed down to you.
Right.
You feel me? And yeah, just for them to see that them not caring, it has to hurt.
Yeah. We have an email from Garrett G, who just got married, and he and his wife are about to start trying for their first kid. And he wants to know, first of all, I wish you luck, my boy. He says he wants to know what advice you'd have for a new dad, but specifically something you wish you knew before you had children. We always try and give a little bit of a different answer to those questions. My thing would just be, you just got married recently to your wife. I don't know how long you guys have been together, but like, do some stressful shit together and learn how to laugh at it before I mean, for my wife and I, getting pregnant was a stressful thing. We had to learn to laugh at. It took us a couple years to get pregnant with our son. And so just like you're gonna at some point be making eye contact with the woman you love with poop on your body. So like just do whatever it is. If you're moving, you're building furniture together or whatever, but like, find ways to get some reps, especially if you haven't been together that long. Not just getting through annoying or difficult things, but finding ways to like laugh at them and have fun with it.
I think he wanted to know what Tyler and Jackson thought too, because he just respects their opinions as well. But for me, it's gonna sound like I'm saying this, and it's like in a way it's gonna sound scary, but I'm not saying because it's scary. So bear with me for a second. Therapists have said that having a kid is equal to dropping a bomb in your relationship, and the reason is because it changes everything. It's not because it's it's just like. You're gonna change. You're a different person. Your wife's gonna be a different person. The relationship's gonna be very different, and so it's gonna be some time for you to like figure out who you are and put the pieces together and figure out who you are as a dad. You know what I mean? And who your wife is as a mom. It changes you in such a big way. And so what I would say is be gentle with yourself. Give yourself some time. Be gentle with each other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Be compassionate with one another. Because
sure.
It's not easy. It's beautiful. It's always beautiful. It's always purposeful. But oftentimes, particularly the first year, it's not easy. And after the first year, it gets so much easier. And
Hey,
so
I
much more
told John
fun.
at his daughter's first birthday, I just gave him a hug and said, "Congratulations!"
Right,
It won't ever be harder than the year you just did, and it's the best too. But
It's
yeah,
the
it's
best,
the first.
but give yourself some grace, please, and that would be the advice I'd give you.
All right, question from Stephen Jones, who was the guy who asked about Jay-Z the last time we did it, and he wanted us to know that he's 29. But he said his question, and we got to speed these up actually a little bit because we have a lot of questions that are good. His question is, no, it's not on you, it's on me.
Okay.
What are your favorite mixtapes from the blog era?
Oh God, that's a hard
That's
question.
so many. Crit Was Here comes to mind immediately.
Crazy.
Summer 2010. That shit just turned my whole fucking world upside down. I would have to throw Currency's like Pilot Talk series up there too.
Mm-hmm.
Can't Talk the Blog Era, and of course How Fly, Currency, and Wiz.
That was one of the two that he mentioned, by the way.
Yeah. Cushion Orange Juice, if we talking Wiz. I personally think what's the shit that came after Cushion Orange Juice, named after his high school, Taylor Oladice. I personally think that's the best piece of work Wiz ever gave us over Cushion Orange.
The title
personally.
song is his best song potentially ever. It's maybe the song I've listened to the
it's so
most from that
fucking
album.
good.
Yeah.
It's so fucking good. Of course, the Bake Sale, Cool Kids Can't Mention Blog Era without the Cool Kids either. This is some Virginia shit. Wale's Mixtape About Nothing. That's one of my favorite mixtapes.
That was special.
Bro. Yeah, when he linked with Best Kept Secret, who was a production duo out of DC, and he had like the go-go theme music on that mixtape. Like, yeah, that's for sure one of my favorites there too. Yeah. So that's a handful of my favorite tapes right there.
I mean, I would go with all those too. I'll also go with the Harry Fraud and Currency tapes. Those are always fire.
Cigarette Boats for sure.
Yeah, Cigarette Boats was crazy. And my favorite album, I mean, like it's personal class to me, the Yellow Album. You know what I'm saying? Like, that wasn't a mixtape, but I think it was an album, but it was in the mixtape era. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's one of those albums that have reached that status where it's like I associate that with summer 2012 so much in my head that whenever the weather gets nice, I always go back to that album, right? Like,
I mean,
like
we
when
were
summer
coming back
first
from New
kicks off,
Orleans.
yeah.
Bronner just won his first chip, I believe. You know what I mean? Like, it was a special time. We were driving back. Yeah, but go ahead.
But yeah. That's one of those albums that like, it gets thrown back in the rotation every summer for sure.
Yeah.
Yellow
sure.
Album's classic.
Young boy of the pod answer is Acid Rap and Kids.
Bro, I want to say Acid Rap. I can't believe I forgot. Acid Rap
You were
to
a
me.
You were a Mac Miller motherfucker, weren't you?
I actually wasn't, but I become more of a Mac Miller guy now.
Okay, all right.
No, yeah. Acid Rap to me was like is Chance's best album, and I probably played that more. That in the Yellow Album, I probably played more than any other album. But Acid Rap was fucking incredible. I'm gonna listen to
Acid Rain
Rap
might be
back.
the single best song he ever did, bro.
You said what?
Acid Rain might be the single best song he ever did.
Oh, it was so moving. I'm gonna listen to Acid Rap because you brought that up. I'm glad you said that, man. That needed to be said.
Cocoa Butter Kisses probably has 1 million streams for me.
Bro.
Okay, Dre Red says Wada. He said he heard something on another podcast about like different traditions for opening presents for kids. So I'm curious for either like John and I what we're doing with our kids and Jackson, Tyler, like what you guys did as kids, whatever. Is it A, open all presents on Christmas Eve, B, open one present on Christmas Eve and the rest on Christmas Day, or C, stick with tradition and open all presents on Christmas Day?
Yeah, we just opened all that shit on Christmas, dog.
Yeah.
We ain't had no
There's another
sneak
way.
previews for Christmas. Like,
But all of my friends got to open one present on Christmas Eve, and we were like, "Can we do this?" And my parents were like, "No." And we're like, "What the fuck?" And they're like, "Just wait. That's what Christmas is."
Yeah, I never had a chance of doing that one present thing. I don't even know if I even presented this to my mom, so I already knew the answer to that shit. You feel me? So like, I mean, and also I was the oldest, and I had like other younger siblings that still believed in Santa. You feel me? So, Santa.
That's where Vinny's
Yeah.
at right now. Like
Yeah.
Vinny had a talk with me last year. He was like, so I've got thoughts about Santa, and I was like, oh, for sure. And he's like, I was like, let me, and he was like, so he kind of asked me, he's like, what should I do? Right? Like he's
how
like
to
looking for
approach this?
guidance. So, yeah. And I was
Yeah,
like, well,
yeah.
look at it like this. Either it's true and there's magic and like blah, 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 or all the parents in the world love their kids so much they're telling this story as a way to like make things nice for like your little sister, for example. And he was like, Yeah, exactly.
I
Okay,
fuck
cool.
with that. Yeah.
That's a good one.
I didn't believe in Santa after like 4.
Yeah, I was early as hell because, bro, we grew up in an apartment, and I was like, "Mama, how is Santa coming here? We don't have a chimney. What the fuck?" And she's like,
Also-
"Yeah." She's like, "He's not real. We don't need to put this."
Yeah, we had one closet, and I mean that's where the presents were hid. You know what I'm saying? So I started asking my mom for clothes at 5. Like, fuck. I'm like, yo, let me get them new Jordans. Fuck you, mean? Or like the pumps, the Reebok pumps.
I think black people have less of a tolerance for bullshit, and I feel like every white person who had black friends I know, we all found out Santa Claus was not real from having black friends. I feel like that's like a universal growing up in a diverse city story.
Also, like, I know this white man ain't giving me nothing for free.
That's what I'm saying. It's like from a much
I'm old enough to know that at 4 or 5. You feel me? Like
Tyler was just talking to us about the way he was raised and the like depth of intelligence and like thought that he was raised in, and it's like at no point am I imagining them going, I want you to really trust this white bullshit. I just can't picture it.
You want to sit on Santa's lap after, like, you know what I'm saying, educating him about Marcus Garvey? I don't know if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we do all our Christmas presents. I would say this as a parent, Christmas morning is like, I mean, even Vinny, like, you know, being where he is, it's a Christmas morning is a special. That's your day to stunt as a parent, really, bro. Like, my kids walk out. I tell the kids, come get me before you go walk out to see the tree.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I get that. Yeah.
Come get us, because I want to see the look on your face and just feel like whatever else happened this year, whatever ups and downs it was, look at how happy these fucking kids are. I can afford to buy them the shit I want to buy them. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, we never did the Christmas Eve. Like, I never understood that either. It's like, that's what Christmas morning is for. Otherwise, you just watching like, what are you doing on Christmas morning if you're not opening the presents? You know what I mean?
I learned that at 18. Like, Christmas was cat when I got to high school. Like, it was like, I got a job now. Like, I don't necessarily, feel me?
You
so
know
like
how much everything costs.
Yeah. And I had a little, I had a little brother that was like in 3rd grade or 2nd grade at the time. So it was cool for me to like get him presents. You know what I mean? And like, you know, see him wake up. And you know what I mean? So like, for me, it was like, the joy I got was from seeing him so excited about that.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to be super happy to get, you know, like something I could have bought with my Hardee's paycheck. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? I already had the Air Max, nigga. You know what I'm saying? I had the Tommy on the Polo. You feel me?
All right. We got another Christmas present question later that's good. But I have a question from an anonymous person that's not Biko. What is the worst Christmas movie of all time? And I'll throw on there. What's your favorite Christmas movie if you have one? I'll start. The worst Christmas movie ever is The Polar Express. I don't know if y'all have seen The Polar Express. We watched it for the first time like last year. Watching that movie for the first time in 2023, it's like a Toy Story 1 era computer animation. It is the wildest shit possible. It is, the animation is so bad. Even our kids walked out of the theater and were like, that was weird.
That was some bullshit.
Worst Christmas movie. I might have to think for worst Christmas movie. My favorite Christmas movie, and this is probably something very unique to like our generation, it's Home Alone for me. Like, we had that shit on VHS, bro. I was watching that shit in the summer. Like, bro, it wasn't just some seasonal shit. Like, I ran that motherfucking movie into the ground. I don't think you can really truly explain to kids who weren't there how big of a star Macaulay Culkin was. Right?
Facts.
Like Home Alone was an instant fucking classic. This dude was in Michael Jackson videos, right? Like, he went and did My Girl, you know, which is one of the more moving movies I've seen in my life. Then he was a fucking psycho in The Good Son with little Lord of the Ring boys. What's his name? Elijah Wood, right?
Yeah.
Like, Macaulay was fucking huge, bro.
Tyler, we had a girl in our in my class in elementary school who was in a movie with Macaulay Culkin. It was, I don't remember if it was like Richie. I forget what movie it was, but to echo how big of a star he was, she came in and told us that she had been cast in it, and she thought she was telling us that she was in a movie, and what we all heard was, Sarah's gonna meet Macaulay Culkin. Like, it was like we found out, like, you know, I mean, it was, yeah, that was like he was the biggest kid celebrity to kids for that time period for sure.
Best movie for me, probably Peanuts. You know, Charlie Brown Christmas, bro. Like, it's not Christmas until I hear Christmas Time Is Here. That's the best fucking Christmas song
Bro.
I know. You know what I mean? Like
You see the motherfucking Charlie Brown Christmas tree in the back. Like, I love that penis.
bro,
shit,
I was finna bring that up last pod because I didn't notice it until last pod. Yeah, but go ahead. What you about to say?
No, I was gonna say I'm with
Yeah.
you. I love all penis shit,
For sure,
especially
bro.
the Christmas shit.
I remember, like, if I was on some bullshit, my mom, I wouldn't get whoopings that day if it was like, I got my ass whooped. What I'm saying is, like,
She'd
on
take it away from
Thanksgiving, yeah, that's what mom would threaten me with, like, bro, if you keep acting up, my boy, like, no peanuts for you on Thanksgiving or some shit.
Hell no.
No, because, right? Well, no YouTube. I couldn't go watch that shit. I had to wait till next year, nigga.
Right.
You feel me? Like, there wasn't no rerun in that motherfucker. That show one time, bro. You feel me? I was like, don't take peanuts from me, not Charlie Brown, nigga.
That's the
Not
funniest
Charlie.
thread I've ever heard.
I was a Charlie Brown ass nigga, bro. I love that dude.
Not
The
like,
worst.
you don't get a cookie tonight. Like, you don't
Yeah,
get
nah.
whatever. You can't play basketball. No, you can't.
You can't watch,
Charlie
bro.
Brown.
It was a different time period, bro. Like I said, it was
Yeah.
gonna show that one time, and it was it, bro. If you
I
missed that
love that.
motherfucker next year, bro, good luck. You feel me? But then worst movies I was watching. Me and Rob been watching all bad. We watched Scrooge, which isn't a bad movie, but there's some dumb parts in it. But then we watched some really, really bad movies.
You've been
And
watching the
worst of
Hallmark
them-
ones or what?
I mean, we watching all of them, bro. Like, we watched The Perfect Holiday with Morris Chestnut and brother. Who else is in The Perfect Holiday? Who's the lead actor?
Is that like a Best Man spinoff or?
Yeah, they're watching
Gabrielle
this-
Union. Gabrielle Union.
Y'all watching the $2 DVD bin at Target,
bro.
dog. Like, that's crazy.
Fucking trash, dog. It was like we've enjoyed the trash movies, and like that was trash for a trash movie. But yeah, The Perfect Holiday, and it was, I think there's some really good actors in it too. Like Terrence Howard's in that. Like a couple years after being the best man, where he was like stunting. You feel me? Like, it's weird anyway. Horrible.
Jackson, you got a favorite or least favorite Christmas movie?
Home Alone is probably my favorite as well. I definitely remember, like, even like fast forwarding just to the part at the end when he like sets all the traps and everything. And I saw someone post about this recently, where like with it wanting their house to be invaded so they could do this. And I was definitely that kid. I was like, I'm gonna be ready if this ever happens. Like, I know I'm grabbing this thing.
You would have got wrecked, Jackson.
I would have gotten destroyed.
We all would have. We all would have.
There's been a theory floating around that Home Alone is like a fucking, you know, allegory to the Vietnam War, and then fucking Kevin's supposed to be like the northern Vietnam forces and shit.
There's so much content people make about
dog.
I saw someone do bring in a medical doctor.
Who
like,
said
what-
this? The math's mathing, but who said
Look,
that?
2 adults should have fucking outsmarted this one kid, just like everyone thought America should have won that war. But he fucking outsmarted. He had the home field advantage. You know, he used booby traps, which the NBA was known for doing. Like, hey, some dots that connect there, dog.
Who is John Candy in this allegory? Who are Kevin's parents? Who is the old man who lives next door in the Vietnam allegory? for
They ain't
Home
worried
Alone?
about that, bro. They just worried about the you know what I'm saying, the main plot. That's what they talking about.
The pops would be Russia there, right? Because they were rich as fuck, and Russia was fucking bankrolling the NBA. So that would probably be the pops is Russia, dog.
This might be next year's whole Christmas episode, is just fleshing that theory out. Home Alone is still good money too. We watch Home Alone with the kids every year. What's fun about it is every year your kids get older, they find a different aspect of it funny or emotional. So Maya's at an age where she's just laughing at the carnage, like when they got hit in the face with the paint can. I always flinch at that scene, and she was just cackling. You know what I mean? So that's
that
just
motherfucking flame on Joe Pesci's. God damn. Peak comedy to little 8-year-old me, dog. You couldn't tell me shit.
Shar and I look at each other, and our running joke for the last 10 years has just been keeping count of how many times they would have died. You know what I mean? Of how many
Someone
murders did this
Someone
kid
did
actually
this online.
commit?
They brought on a doctor, and they were 20-something times that they would have died.
Also, bro, as a man that just fell less than a week ago, the ice on the fucking steps would have went home after that, bro.
Steps.
Would have turned around.
Time
The
one.
movie would have ended there. You feel me?
Yep, 100%. I would also say probably the whitest thing about me is that every year on Christmas Eve, I watch Die Hard while I wrap Christmas presents while Shar is at church and the kids are asleep.
I'm not mad at Die Hard, bro. Die Hards are I would say they're good. Like the ones now that are just boom, kapow. You feel me? Like those aren't it. You know what I mean? But they're good now. The old ones were good.
For sure, bro. Okay. We've got this is actually a great. I think this is a younger listener named Jared who's asking for Tyler to rescue him. He said Tyler mentioned his day job in recruiting. Last mailbag, thought it would be helpful for some of us. What kind of stuff are employers looking for on a resume? Specifically volunteer work. Everybody says to have it on a resume, but I don't know how helpful it is to have volunteer hours at Ronald McDonald House when you're in software management or something completely unrelated. What does volunteer work do, and how do you interpret it on the other end?
Yeah, that is a good question, because I can honestly say in all my years of recruiting, and I recruit tech, like IT positions, we've never cared about volunteer work. I'm not at all saying that's not his reality from whatever he's hearing. Maybe he's trying to get into like project management or what have you, but that's something we've never quite looked for. But just as some overall advice, just bro, whatever you have volunteered for, just put that shit down, spruce it up. Like you mentioned, if you volunteered at the Ronald McDonald House, like put that shit down and talk about how you helped feed the homeless or what have you there, and just kind of spruce that shit up there. But yeah, like I said, I personally can say that in all my years of recruiting, volunteer experience has never really mattered with us. I've never had to check that box off when I've done my searches and my sourcing. So
yeah, okay.
Craig, so he might be a new grad just kind of working through the bullshit, because you get fed a lot of bullshit in college about what exactly employers are looking for. So
I was gonna say, this sounds to me like when I've only ever had to use a resume to apply for a job one time, and it was bullshit. Because of what you just said, it's like I was just on Google, and like the 2006 version of Google, like how to make resume, you know what I mean? And it's like the first thing that pops up, put a lot of volunteer shit on there. You're like, all right, I'm gonna get, I don't know, bro. All right. Craig, CR_egg, the homie, asks, he says, happy Hoka days from an old, first of all. TM, old.
Shout out.
He said he's wondering if the boys beat Spider-Man 2 and if we loved every second of it.
I haven't. I'm still fucking around. How far you got on it, Mike?
I ran through that shit, dog.
You beat that shit?
I beat it in like 2 weeks, and I got to 100% on it in like 3 weeks. And I don't play games like that, but I was just like obsessed with that shit, bro. So I'm just sitting here like looking at, when we're getting updates. They're talking about updates. So I'm not going to spoil anything for you, Tyler, but some stuff, there are going to be some updates that have some extra fights with different people and stuff I'm very excited about. So okay. Yeah, but are you loving it? Are you haven't finished it because you're just enjoying playing around?
I'm just bullshitting, swinging through the city doing side missions and shit. Like that's where I'm at with it. I haven't even really locked back into the fucking plot or whatever. But
that's how it took me 3 years to beat Red Dead 2, because I would just go picking flowers for like a month. You know what I mean? Or like I spent 2 months just hunting.
Todd, did you ever do Red Dead?
What? Nah, I never beat Red Dead either. Like I don't necessarily need to beat video games, they're just more so of an escape, just something to put my brain on cruise control for.
How far did you get on Red Dead? Did you start the second half of Red Dead? Did you not get to the? Because it's basically two different games. Two separate games.
I remember I got to the part where he was like, living with that with that family that was like camping out.
Okay, that's the second part.
Yeah.
When the first, niggas should know. When the first dude died, and then you had this.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I was so mad. But anyway,
Sky Sneaks. We got a couple different versions of this question, but this is Cheesa Slice on Twitter. He said the funniest shit I've been following this season is Tyler's running count of the Wizards doing dumb shit. That boy is a fucking prophet. He's not a prophet. He's the Damas. All right.
The Negro
Damas. He says, since we already have our shooting guard and power forward in Poole and Kuz, how would you round out the rest of the NBA all ridiculous team? Could be current or all time.
Oh shit. Listen, if we're going all time, like we can just go to the Wizards. Like we can just go, like we can just roll out an all Wizard squad and handle this in one shot. We can put Gilbert at the 1. We can put Poole at the 2. We can put motherfucking Nick Young at the 3. We can put motherfucking Poole at the 4. We can put fucking JaVale McGay or Andre Bloch, whoever you want, at the 5. Like, bro, like there we have it. It's that easy. Just off former Wizards, bro.
On my all-time, I have to put JaVale McGee just because he was so, and I love JaVale McGee as a person, a player, but he was so ridiculous for so long that Shaqtin' a Fool almost turned into like bullying just because of like how much material he had that was fucking ludicrous. So I got the All Wizards team with Tyler with JaVale off the bench. That'll be mine.
Did you ever see that clip when JaVale McGee's team got an offensive rebound and JaVale was running back on defense? I forget who the point guard was, but the point guard picked up his dribble and just looked at that man like, "What are you doing?"
Like we gotta find that point guard. You gotta tell me who that point guard was.
Yeah. JaVale was hilarious, bro.
John,
have y'all seen this slow motion clip of Jordan Poole, where he comes off a screen? And you know how like these slow motion clips of dudes that are like they're showing like I was talking about this last pod, I was showing the beauty of basketball. They'll slow it down, put some jazz or like some R&B behind it. They showed Jordan Poole get the ball, spin off somebody, and find an open spot, shoot that motherfucker. And I'm thinking like, yo, this finna be crazy. I'm talking about over the rim, hit the backboard. Painfully hard.
He hit
and my mom asked me like, why they do him like that, bro? Like just all backboard. And my mom asked me like, why they doing him like that? I'm like, Mom, the Detroit Pistons are trash, but like the Wizards are way more embarrassing for some reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, bro, like that Jordan, it's been insane to see this year.
We just got a couple more here. Keith from Ontario asks, if you got into some freak comic book accident that gave you superpowers, what power would it be? And then I like this more. How do you think the accident would have went down? I.e., Tyler had a random grill blow up and now he can turn into fire or something.
That's a hell of a question.
That is a good question.
So creative, so inventive.
Yeah.
Listen, I would just want a power that I can make money from. I wouldn't care about fighting crimes. I'm not gonna lie to you. I would just want some shit where I can see the future, so I can cash out at a casino or with gambling or some shit or if I had a superhuman power, if I was super fast, I could fucking go to the NFL or be a track star and make a bunch of bread like that or something. But I would not be out here taking it to the streets. I'm gonna tell you that, motherfucker. We getting paid, dog. We are getting away from the streets. We going to the hills.
You were reading the Spider-Man where he gets into pro wrestling when he first gets his powers, and you're like, yes.
Exactly.
I don't know how it happened, but I think flying, bro. I just always admired that sense of freedom. I mean, birds are dumb for the most part, so they don't understand how they probably don't feel that. But
yeah,
that sense of freedom, being able to fly, I want to feel that. So I think that's the power I want. I don't know how that would happen.
Yeah, you're throwing your baby in the air, and then suddenly you're both flying or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. Jackson, you have
a radioactive fly bites you, bro.
Right, there we go.
The power that I would like is definitely to fly. I feel like I interpreted the question differently, where I was like, what is something that I do oftentimes that would result in a freak accident where I would get a power of some kind. And the only thing I was thinking there is Kim, my girlfriend, always complains about how I'm constantly injured in some way. I have a knee sprain, I got a wrist problem, I tweak my back, I just minor shit that I'm always getting hurt. So I feel like it would probably be me getting hurt in some weird way and then developing Wolverine's regenerative powers, the opposite, you know?
I got an idea. Now that I'm rephrasing the question in that way, reframing it in that way. I'm always fighting against bugs on a golf course. I have battles against fucking Japanese beetles and fucking bees and shit where I'm trying to slap them out the air with clubs. It happens sometimes. Most time I miss. And I just look silly as fuck. But maybe I fight a Japanese beetle and a swarm of them attacks me and I get that regenerative power from fighting my body fighting back against, getting its ass beat by Japanese beetles. So
I like Tyler's. You get bit by a radioactive fly, and then you can fly, but you also find shit to be super delicious. You know what I mean?
No. Don't ruin my.
That's the flip side of it.
This is mine, not yours.
Do y'all ever have dreams where you could fly, and then at some point in the dream you couldn't do it anymore? Did you ever have that dream?
I never dreamed I could fly. I always wanted to, bro.
Yeah,
I have dreams, bro. I basically have done what I wanted in my dreams. So yeah, but
Professor X over here just
bro. It's just no. My sister can do the same thing. Courtney, she has the same. She dreams in the same way. But anyway.
Okay, we just got a couple questions left here. Jasper asks, Any books we've read recently that we'd recommend? He loved when we were doing the book clubs, and he's curious to hear about good reads lately. I know John just read Warmth of Other Suns.
Warmth of Other Suns. We talked about that. Like,
yeah.
I mean, you see, the Warmth of Other Suns is such a. You could tell she put 14 years of information of research into it, right? You know what I mean? But for me, like, and it was so informative when they're talking about, you know what I'm saying, the Great Migration and where they're coming from, like Louisiana going to Cali, you know what I'm saying, Mississippi going up to, you know, Chicago, and then Florida going to like Detroit, based upon the railroad lines. That was really interesting. But I was talking to Mike about this, about how she really made the pen do backflips when she fucking sent these people home. It follows their entire. It starts from the beginning of their lives, and then she's with them like the last 15 years of their life. But like that was beautiful the way she sent them off.
It's the best. Also, it's the best nonfiction book I've ever read.
I mean,
yeah,
I'd have to say so. And I think Ida Mae, I learned so much from that person, is from how she approached life.
Right.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I Warmth of the Suns is incredible.
Yeah. Tyler, you got anything?
I just ordered a book last night. As a matter of fact, I'm going through my Amazon to see what it was something.
Homecoming I read too was good too.
Hey, did that book I sent you ever get there, bro, or did that get lost in the Richmond?
No, when'd you send it?
God damn, bro! I swear, like half the shit I sent Tyler doesn't get to his house. I sent you the social media book we talked about, the Chaos Machine. I sent it like a month ago.
Okay, gotcha. I think I do have that.
Okay,
I just think I haven't tapped into it, but I do need to read that.
Okay, all right, that's fine. I just was like, because I think I tried to send you a couple of S.A. Crosby, who I love. I tried to send you a couple of his books, and those shits just didn't.
Did I feel like that shit might have came in like an Amazon shit? Did you send it to me via Amazon?
Yeah,
okay, yes. I do have that shit then. Yeah.
Okay, all right, okay. So you've been getting shit. It's just you got other shit going on. I understand.
Yeah, I got a lot of Amazon shit going on right now. It's Christmas time. You know what I'm saying? I got godsons and nieces and shit I'm copping shit for. So
for sure. Yeah. Oh yeah. But I'm sorry. Were you had a? Did you have a? You said you just read something.
I can't find the shit, but
okay.
No, yeah, I've been slipping with my read. Like I usually read about. I'm not a crazy avid book reader, but I usually read like 3 or 4 a year. But I've been slipping this year, dog.
Yeah. I read this year. I spent most of the year doing a book club with my friend Ryan. We read all of the Game of Thrones books, starting with Fire and Blood, and then we read the actual Song of Ice and Fire and everything else. And I'm not really a fantasy sci-fi dude. It's more like literary fiction or nonfiction stuff, but I've never had more fun reading. Like, it's just, I love a book with a map. I love a book with people at war. It's just, I don't know, the whole thing, it was really, not to be one of those annoying people, but it truly was like a much deeper experience than the show was. And it's one of my favorite shows ever. But the book I would sell people on right now is called The Reformatory. It's by Tananarive Due, which is Char's aunt, my wife's aunt. But she is kind of a legendary black horror writer. She wrote the introduction to all of Jordan Peele's stuff for Get Out. She teaches a class on black horror at UCLA that he's come and spoken at. And The Reformatory is a horror book she's been working on for like a decade plus. It's based on the true story of this horrible reformatory school that was used basically in Florida as a like a 13th Amendment type of like they're putting black boys, and kids in there, and then they're sort of doing like forced labor and stuff like that. But this book is like unbelievably beautiful. Stephen King's son said he thought it was the book of the decade.
Wow.
Entertainment Weekly put it up there with The Shining as like the best American horror books ever written.
I gotta order that.
It's a singular work of art, and she is one of the best people you'll ever meet as well. But she's getting a lot of flowers for that book right now, and she very much deserves them. So that's my recommendation to anyone who's looking for a kind of a unique book to give to someone. Okay, we got 2 left. Justin Smith says, 1, has anyone ever told John that he has some serious acting chops? I felt like I was watching an episode of Atlanta during the 12 on Mondays trailer. It just all looks so genuine.
Best compliment ever.
I just wanted to read
I do to Atlanta.
I just wanted to, and I just, for that reason, just wanted to read that to you. But the real question was number 2, Tyler, when the tweet left your hands, Did you know that you would start a movement among internet users of verbifying nouns with the "them titties is tittying" tweet?
People don't give you your flowers with that. I think we brought it up a couple times.
I didn't know that.
I knew because I remember he was the first person to say it, and I was like, "Woo, that was because that was the only way to describe Rihanna's titties."
It was some vintage like 2012 Rihanna titties when I first.
She's in that. Oh, man, I turned into a child. Turn into Looney Tunes. I didn't mean to do that. That was completely like that came from my spirit. No, but like it was crazy because I remember that she was getting interviewed.
Hold on.
YouTube.com/@Jenkins
and Jonez for John's visceral reaction to remembering Rihanna's.
Holy shit!
Do you remember the video, Jackson? Tyler understands. Tyler understands. Tyler, bro,
I vividly remember those titties. They have been seared into my memory bank.
Okay. And just for listeners who don't know, because I actually was friends with Tyler for several years before realizing that I had been partaking in a language thing that he coined. The "them titties tittying" was a tweet Tyler wrote that then, yes, verbifying nouns is obviously just something that you see all the time on the internet at this point. I was not aware that came from Tyler, but it did.
Hey, sometimes, the higher powers speak through you. Like, I don't know how much credit I can take. I felt like, I was just a vessel in that moment, for a greater purpose. So.
Okay, being that is something that nobody had ever done before. Did you know, this about to go crazy? Did you know that? Or you just think it was a little...
I just be saying shit. I've got fucking, 600,000 tweets? I just be saying shit.
I know, but Tyler, when you let something go that people are going to react to
No, actually, that's a great question. What's your success rate of predicting, like, when you tweet something like, oh, that's going to fuck my mentions up for 2 weeks? Like, do you usually know, or is it a surprise to you when shit really pops off?
It's a bit of both. Like, sometimes I'm like, this is a heater. Right, like I know, how fucking Larry Bird, shot that last shot in 3-point contest and turned away before it dropped. Like sometimes I feel like that when I get a tweet off. Sometimes I'm shocked that some shit went off. Like my most viral tweet was there's an old clip from like the 20s of like a car that backed up by itself, and I was like, wow, why do we not have this now or some shit like that? And that shit got like 2 million retweets or something. Like there's no telling, dog. So
right, okay, for sure. Okay, last one. Herman, his name is it's German, but it's with the H sound instead of a G. Is that Herman or Herman?
Herman. I think that's
Herman.
Yeah.
Herman.
Okay.
Herman, I think. Look, bro. If you go to
where is he from, though? It depends on where he's from, though. It depends on where he's from. Like,
all I know
was he
about
born
him,
in Nebraska? It's fucking Herman. You know what I'm saying? Is he not?
What Nebraskan is naming their son Herman with a G though? Like
that's what I'm saying.
A Nebraskan gonna name him Herman with a H.
Wait, it's Herman, right? Not G.
It's the word German, but then in parentheses it says with an H sound instead of a G.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's Herman.
Herman.
Otherwise, he would have used a different word. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm thinking German, I would just swap it in. Pronounce the rest of the word exactly the same.
Okay, here's all of the intel I have, and this is a great question, so thanks for sending it. Here's all the intel I have. He has a T-Mobile 5G device, because it says the email was sent from my T-Mobile 5G device. That's all.
Herman.
That sounds like a Herman. No, I don't know.
Herman.
All right, he says, since it's the season, what was the best Christmas gift y'all ever received, both as a kid and as an adult?
Wow. Wow.
And I want Jackson stayed later than he was supposed to, so I want Jackson's answer too.
I'm gonna sound really ungrateful, but like I can't really like think of one off the top of my head.
You sound like the little boy in the dinosaur that pooped Christmas. You sound like the little ungrateful boy in the dinosaur who pooped Christmas.
That's what it sounds like.
Tyler, you got one?
I think my favorite Christmas gift is probably when I got a Sega Genesis, bro.
Yeah.
Like you got to understand, for one, like video games that you can play at home are new as shit, right? Like Nintendo was the first real home console that really took off. Like Atari had its, run or whatever, but Nintendo was when shit really took off, right? And I remember, I had Nintendo, and then I got the Sega Genesis, and I was like, wow, 16 bits. You know what I'm saying? Just blown away with that. And had fucking Sonic came with it. Are you kidding me? Like
Sonic, when you'd only been able to play Mario, was
right.
like if someone created I mean, I shouldn't say that. I was gonna say it's like if someone created like porn that actually existed. Like it was like taking your brain to a level you didn't even know existed, even though it was still a like low bit side scrolling video game. The fact that you could go fast was like
right.
Holy
you could go
shit!
And if you go fast enough, you've got the Mario Invincible star. Basically by default, right?
That was like
Nothing's
the '94 version of Rihanna's titties. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and then
right? And then the whole you're telling me as long as I've just got one ring, I'll never die. Like what type of innovation is this? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Sonic was a game changer, dog.
I remember mine. I remember mine.
Go on.
It was not, I don't know if it was technically a Christmas gift. It was right around the Christmas time, so I think it qualifies. And it's by far the best gift I've ever gotten. My dad did this thing with me and each of my siblings. He called it a senior trip, where like when we were seniors in high school, we would do some cool thing. For me, I was oldest. I got the first one. He surprised me, and we flew to Boston. And in a 2-day span, we went to a Celtics game, a Bruins game, and a Patriots game. It was the sickest trip ever, and I was like 17 years old.
How is that not top of mind?
Because it wasn't Christmas, I think. That's why.
Okay.
It was like early December or something. It was just like the timing. That was the timing of those games happening. But like, I think it qualifies.
I was like, well, your Christmas is that crazy?
No,
like,
that's the best gift I've ever gotten, period. And it was just like,
somebody was privileged.
I didn't think of it as a Christmas gift. I didn't think it was a Christmas gift.
Somebody had more than one closet in their house.
Jackson didn't believe in Santa Claus because they had too many chimneys at the house.
Which one
How did he choose which chimney to go down?
There's no way you would know.
Right.
I'll do an adult one later, but my kid one would be very similar to Tyler's. And I have to emphasize again, if you're a younger listener, there's no way to describe how important a video game system was, because it was both the most entertaining thing in the world you could have, and legitimately, if you had the new system, you were automatically the coolest kid in your group of friends. It was like being the first kid to have for the first of your friends to have a car or something. So I'll never forget when I was 12, my grandparents got me a Nintendo 64. And the Nintendo 64 was as big a step up as we were talking about, because you had 4 controllers, which to us was like, we had more than 2 friends. So you were always juggling, okay, you guys are playing Madden, but the other 4 people are outside playing basketball. You'd go call them in or some shit like that, right? Because people would be in my house, and so we'd be like rotating. N64, I mean, first of all, I knew I was going to get it because my grandma was just like, she was just telling me like the 2 months before Christmas what a good kid I was, all this other shit. And I just knew, like, she would just give me the look.
She hit me with a banger. She
like,
got you them Jordan 9s too, didn't she?
Yeah, she'd just be like, you can't. She's like, oh, you can't wait for Christmas. And so like, and so my anticipation was so high. And I was correct that it was the greatest present. It was just like December 26th, actually December 25th, just up and down my street. My friend Ryan, my little brother, I got the N64. And we're all playing Smash Brothers at the same time. Like, we're all playing Mario Kart at the same time. You bring your controller over to your friend's house because the controllers were still expensive as fuck. So most people didn't have 4 controllers sitting in the crib. Like, but I just knew as a 12-year-old, and again, I knew it was my grandparents getting, there wasn't any Santa stuff. I just knew it was going to be like life-changing, and I was correct. So that's got to be number 1 for me as a kid, for sure.
I think as a kid, number 1 was probably the Reebok pumps. I wanted those so fucking bad in 3rd grade. I got them.
After that fucking D Brown dunk contest, bro.
Right.
Pumped this shit up.
It was that same. It was, yeah. I got them, and I hated them. I put them on my feet, and I'm like, these shits are beefy as fuck. I wore them one day to 3rd grade, had a matching jumpsuit to go with them motherfuckers, and went right back to my cross trainers. And I've been wearing low tops for the most part. I wore low tops for the most part. Like, I didn't start wearing high tops again until probably college, bruh. But yeah. No, the forces in high school. So yeah.
As an adult, it's really like a tie between everything my kids have ever given me, and I have like everything is on my desk so I can see it. They made me a plaque. They had Shar take him to a trophy for like best dad ever. I got a mug over here that says "You're my hero." I got a art picture that Maya drew. I got a rainbows and hearts that Vinny drew me. But then and I told y'all that Vincent's Christmas present of a Dodger hat literally forced me at gunpoint to become a baseball fan, because we watched like 2 or 3 playoff games together just because it was on or whatever. And so for Christmas, he got me a Dodgers hat, and he said, he was like, I don't know, 4 or something. He was like, because watching Dodgers games with you is my favorite thing to do. Oh. And I was just like, motherfucker. Like, that's the sweetest shit I ever heard. Yeah.
He backed you into a corner, baby. You had nowhere to go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
The other honorable mention was last year, Shar got me, this is a postcard that's also on my desk, postcard of the ship that the Gardabassios came to America on, and the signature is my great-grandpa's signature from the registry book at Ellis Island. So I put that on the desk as a reminder of, like, if you're a little stressed out about work, like, it's really not that.
Was really great-grandpa's a Gardabassio, or?
Yeah, it's Gardabassios all the way down. I'm the firstborn son of a firstborn son of a firstborn son, which in my Italian family at least was very important. So when everyone found out Vinny was going to be a boy, it was like, I was sort of not, I was ready to kind of break that up or whatever, but that's a big deal to all of them. So
nice.
All right, adult presents.
I would say as an adult, it's going to be another console. It's going to be the PS5, and the reason being is because we all know how hard
Tyler,
it is to get
I love you, bro. Tyler, I love you, dog.
He the same nigga. He been the same nigga his whole life, bro.
Yeah, but this is special to me because, like, I had told Summer, I told my wife, like, bro, I just cannot find a PS5. And I wasn't tripping, right? Like, I'm not an avid gamer. I was just ready to charge to the game. I was like, when these motherfuckers hit Best Buy or Amazon in 2026, I guess I'll get one, right? Like, it didn't fucking faze me. But, wifey is a fucking super shopper, right? Like, she's someone who prides herself on being able to find shit that is rare to find and finding good deals on shit. And that shit even beat her ass. Like, she couldn't find this shit, right? And so she was about to give up. And then just one Christmas, she just surprised me with a fucking PS5. And she got it because she used her, I've told y'all before, she's a military kid. Both her parents were in the military. There's a military base, in the Richmond area, in the Petersburg area, and she's still got friends there. She's got connects there, and they had a raffle for a PS5. She reached out to the person who won the raffle, didn't know him, but she knew the person who threw the raffle. Got in contact with the person who won the raffle and bought it off of that dude for me. Like,
wow,
yeah,
bro.
that is like I said. I'm not even tripping off the actual PS5. It's just my wife just going above and beyond for me like that. That shit is sentimental as fuck to me. So
that's dope as fuck, bro.
I think the best gift I got it's either this chain with Somya's name on it that Rather got me, or when she got me the Rollie. Because, bruh, I would never have bought that for myself. Never. And I kept saying, when I get to this point, I'll do it. When I get to this point, and she knew that there's no way I was never going to do that shit. And so she talked to Adrian to figure out which one to get and all that shit, bro. And I remember I opened the motherfucking box, like, not thinking. I'm just like, I wonder what this is. And I saw this shit, and I just walked away, bro. Like, I don't know, because, came back face wet as fuck because, nigga, like, bro, you could have done 100th of that, and I'd have been perfectly fucking happy. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I don't know. It's just like her knowing that I would never do it because I'm just not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just not going to do that type of shit. And her willing to fucking do it, bro. You know what I mean? And so, but yeah, man, that was just... It's not the fact that it's a Rollie, it's the fact that, like, she just understood me in a particular way. You know what I mean? And what it means, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like for us, like, you get that motherfucker, it's like, wow, like, you've actually, you know what I mean? I just never felt like I would have accomplished enough I could be making $1 million and I feel like, nigga, I don't know, bro. I don't think I'm there yet. You feel me?
Yeah.
So she kind of made me celebrate myself for a little bit, and I appreciate that.
That's beautiful.
It's a beautiful
Jackson.
thing.
As an adult?
From your giant pile of
Jackson gifts that you've got.
Jackson as an adult is still opening the presents he got as a kid because there were so many of them.
Well, I'm just like not like a gift guy, so like it's not like the way my brain works. But I'm thankful for all of them. I got this plant. It's not.
He looks over like
it wasn't a Christmas gift. But
is she there? Is she right there beside you?
Kim got me this plant.
Okay.
She's not here. Kim got me this plant. She's not
like
here.
she was there.
No. I was thinking to the other room. There's this plant that I really like that she got me. But
okay.
I like that. All right, guys, that's our mailbag episode for the holidays.
Bro,
God damn.
Bro, like the ghost of her, like behind you, like you thought she was gonna say something. Nigga looked over,
you don't
like
care about any of them.
right? Like she was gonna hop out the fucking walk through the wall, nigga. Like what was that? I don't do nothing special for you.
Because of the plants in the other room.
That's so funny. All right, that's our holiday mailbag. Thank you to everyone who. I'm sorry we didn't get to all the questions, but thank you so much to everyone who wrote in. Thanks again for all the nice stuff you said, and sincerely hope everyone. I always like to get a little sappy at this time of year because I really do think quite a lot about how grateful I am to get to do this pod with my two of my best friends in the world and the most responsible 27-year-old in the world, who's also one of our close friends. And it's just like, it's crazy. It is truly crazy that we get to do this shit.
Absurd, even.
Yeah. I mean, really. But so thank you to all you guys. Hope everyone has a great holidays. If you don't have family shit going on, you're sad about your family, whatever, do whatever the fuck makes you have a happy time at the holidays, bro. Like I've been through some of that shit. A lot of us have been through some of that shit. But thinking about y'all and hope everyone has some kind of a happy, love-filled, magical moment at some point over the next week. Sorry you won't have a Jenkins and Jonez, but we'll be back on Thursday with our next episode, and we will see y'all then. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.